Hello, in this tutorial video, it's Grex here, and in this one I'm going to show you how to make the basic configuration in the Betaflight for your freshly new built drone. And I built this Apex 5 just on the earlier video. So the first step that we need to make is just connect the USB wire and connect this drone to your PC, which we have the Betaflight turned on, and you can see that at the ports the country appeared, and this is the name of your flight controller. So you just select it, hit connect, and the first thing that I really like to do is we can calibrate our accelerometer right now. So this is really simple procedure. You need to leave your drone on the nice level flat surface. We can hit calibrate and it will nicely just level out. And then when we have all defaults, also what I like to do, so basically you can find all default settings on the manufacturer's websites, but I think it's a lot more handy just to go into the CLI tab. And of course you may have not the expert mode enabled, so to have access to all these settings right here, we need to enable this expert mode. And now to save all default settings, we can type dump, and which this command is doing, it will just read all the settings that are stored on our flight controller, and then we can save this to the txt file. So you can save it to file, and we can name it like Apex 5 default settings. So I just save it on the desktop, hit save, and now we can do the next step, which will be enabling the proper ports. So we go into the ports tab. So yeah, after the CLI, the flight control will just reboot, so we can connect again. We go into the ports tab, and particularly on this build, I soldered the receiver to the UART2, but I can see that the SpeeDV flight controller just automatically detected this receiver. So in some flight controllers, you can have all the ports just turned off. So you just need to know which port is on which port is your receiver, and then you just turn on the serial RX for this port that you have your receiver on. So yeah, now we activated the receiver, and now we can do the same with the VTX. So in this build I soldered the VTX wires to the UART1 port, which we have right here, and we leave these sliders, we not turn on anything right here, but we go to the peripherals tab, and right here we need to select the right protocol. So if you don't know which protocol your VTX is using, you just go on your manufacturer website, and then from this website you can just know which protocol is for your VTX. So in my case, for this JHEMCO VTX, this is the ERC Tramp. And after that, we can save and reboot. So after setting your ports and hitting save and reboot, of course your flight controller will save the setting and reboot, so you connect again. And now, which is really important, we can check our failsafe procedure. Right here we have the failsafe tab, and check if this has right setting. So if we don't have any GPS return to home, we need to set it to drop. So literally when the drone will lost connection, it will just disarm itself. So I think without the GPS this is the best and the safest way. Of course your drone can be damaged because it will fall out of the sky like a rock, but I think it's still better than leaving it to hold position or just hold the last race, so it will fly like autonomously in some kind of building, which can be a lot more dangerous. So the next step we will do is just configure our receiver. So we go into the Receiver tab, and I know that my Express LRES is using the Crossfire protocol. So right here we change it to Crossfire, and then also I need to make sure that my channel order is right. So I use different channel order, which is this. So just how to find out if you don't know your channel order. After connecting to your radio, you just move the sticks and then you can map the right letter. So each letter is the axis on your gimbals. So that way you will know just which one is roll, pitch, yaw, and the throttle. And also keep in mind, now we can connect the receiver with the flight controller to our radio. Also keep that in mind. So this flight controller is pretty nice because it powers the receiver only from the USB port, but not every flight controller have this feature. So in some of the flight controllers you also need to plug the main power, and when you will plug the main power, it's really important just to cool your VTX, because the VTX is getting hot really fast and you can burn it if you just leave it too long. So after setting the receiver settings, we hit save and reboot. And now I will disconnect the USB power just to power this off. Now we will turn on the radio. So always first turn on the radio and then the drone.
Totally careless. I have a favorite app.
Okay, so we have power on the radio, and now we can turn on the receiver with the flight controller, so we can check on the screen if we will have some moving bars. So that will be the indicator that we see that we have a connection with our radio. So I connect the drone again, head to the receiver tab, and now it should be bound and we can see that the bars are moving. So I have roll over here, so maybe I can show you. So actually this is pitch, this is roll, the first letter, which is the throttle, so this is also right, and this should be yaw. The yaw is also great. So we have it done. And if you have a situation that some of the axis is inverted or just not in the right place, you can always just change these letters. So this is just your channel order. Okay, so we have bound our receiver to our radio, and also we can see at the Betaflight that we have a connection and we can fly this virtual small drone. So now we leave our radio turned on. And also one important information, look for your aux value on the throttle axis, because we can see that on the minimal state we have 999, and this value should be less than this minimal stick load threshold, because if this value will be more, like this value, you will be not able to arm the drone, because this is just the safety protection on the Betaflight. Now we can set the switches and the modes. So as I said, we just go to the modes tab, and also earlier look for the switches, that which switch is changing which bar. So I can see that this SE switch is changing the aux2, and this switch should be aux1, so it works properly. And also this momentary is the aux3, so now you'll see which switch means what in the Betaflight. So later we will use the aux mapping just to map the right switch on the mode step. So we again go back into the mode step. So first we can see we have arm, so we can add the range, as you can remember on the receiver tab. So for arming I want this switch, so we can see this is aux1. So I just set the switch to aux1 and then add the range. So when the connector will be at this state, we will arm the quad, and like it will be on this state, we will disarm the quad. So you can see like right here, and you can see the arming is not working right now because we still not connected the main power. Okay, so we can also add a flight mode. So maybe we use the maybe if you want to have angle mode and also the acro mode. So the procedure is pretty similar. We add a range, and we need to remember which aux we want to use as the modes switch. So in the receiver, maybe it will be aux2. Yeah, so we use the aux2. And the range for the angle will be like not so fast, so which is this position, like right here. So we set it to this position, and this is just our angle mode. And we set the angle mode. We can hit save. And I have also one important information. So when we have set our angle mode, and now flight controller knows that the drone is in angle mode, but when the flight mode will be like on the neutral state, so now we don't have any flight mode turned on, so automatically it will be on the acro mode. So just to set the acro mode, you don't need to check any of these tabs. You can set your OSD already. So we head to the OSD tab, and you can just add you have a lot of options right here. So maybe at the start I add the VTX channel, so I will know which channel my VTX is. And also maybe the most important stuff, so it will be the battery voltage. So I will just give the battery voltage right here, and also on the middle by default you have this warning. So also when we are now setting the OSD menu is really great, and I think you should do it just to check your low battery warning level. So we go into the power and battery and check our minimum cell voltage. So I think 3.3 is way too low. I like to set it to 3.5. So now you will know in what time you need to land, which is really important just to save your lipo and just literally not destroy your lipo, because on these quads you don't have any kind of auto landing on the low lipo voltage, so when you forget about it, you can just literally destroy the battery, bringing it to 0 volts. So yeah, now we can check the motor directions if they are correct. So in order to do this, I applied just some insulation tape, so we can physically just spot which directions they are spinning. So we go into the motor step, and now we hit the motor direction. I understand the risk, so of course when doing it, first really important part is just don't wear any propellers, so it can be super dangerous. So I just add a masking tape or just some kind of insulation tape that is safe, and you can even touch it with your finger that you can feel which direction the motor is spinning. And the second really important part, when we will plug the LiPo, the VTX is also going to heat up, so I really recommend to do this pretty quick, so we'll reduce the risk of burning your VTX. Or you can just add some kind of fan right here, like a PC fan, which will cool this VTX, because we need to add the power just to power this 4-in-1 AST, and then we will be able to spin these motors. So now I will connect the power to our drone. So yeah, AST is now active, so I understand the risk. So we can do it individually, so we just check each motor. And now, as I click the number 1, so we have motor number 1 right here. So the motor direction order is inwards. So I can see it's spinning inwards, so this one is alright. Now we can spin the second one. So I think, oh yes, this is this one. So this one also is spinning inside, so it's alright. Then we can try the third one. So I can see this is this one, and also it's spinning inwards, which is correct. And the last one, I think it will be that one. Yeah, so it's spinning inwards also. So we have the right motor directions, and if you will have different, you can always hit the reverse, so the motor just will spin the other direction. So this is really quick procedure, I think not really dangerous for your VTX. So we've done this successfully. So now when the power is still on the drone, we can close it and head into our video transmitter tab. So now we have our VTX active, but we don't have any VTX table for this. So in order to install the VTX table, we need to go into the website of our manufacturer. So I have the folder right here, which I downloaded. So we have it right here, and we need this JSON file. This is the JSON file that you can normally just download from the website, also with the manual. So right here you can see the right, also even the right connection. So if you even don't know how to connect this VTX to the FC, so you have also instruction right here. But for now we only need this JSON file. So we head back to the Betaflight, we hit the load from file, we select this JSON file, hit open, and now we have our VTX table. We hit save, and now we can just choose the right band of our VTX. So I just So I use the race band 6, so I just choose the R6. And now if we can do it at the beginning when configuring a quad, select the lowest possible power on your VTX. So I really recommend this. So it will just decrease the risk that you will overheat your VTX. So we set it to only 25 milliwatts in this case, fast heat safe. And you can see that the statistics right here changed. So we have the race band 6 and the power is only 25 milliwatts. So it should be not a big super problem that we will just roast this VTX. And I can touch it with my finger, it's already getting pretty warm, but it's not super hot, so it's still alright. So yeah, as I told you earlier, if you're really worried about this VTX, you can put some kind of fan. If you just need more time to configure the motors and the VTX. But for now we have all this configured, so now I can just turn off the LiPo power. We can also set our rates for this quad, so basically it will be the sensitivity of our drone, so how fast the quad will move as we move the sticks on our radio. So in order to do this, we go to the pitch tuning tab, and we have right here the tab which is named the rate profile settings. And I just put mine on rates, so I just use the Betaflight rates. Of course I can change it, and I just put my rates. And maybe the last thing on the Betaflight that I always like to do, so we have the backup settings file for the default configuration, and now we just do the same to store all our settings that we done right here. To do this after the configuration, you can also write diff all, which will just show the settings that you changed. But I like to get the whole configuration, so I just write again dump. And again, the flight controller will display all the settings that we can save to a txt file. So I just name it as the Apex 5 first config. Save it on the desktop. So after that we can exit our Betaflight configurator.
It's too quiet.
So yeah, now as we configured just the basics of the Betaflight to get the squad flying, we can just, after disconnecting the USB wire, just alone connect the LiPo battery. And we can see on your radio that we have the bars that indicates the signal strength, and also this is not the RSSI, I just set the dBm value, so this is not the RSSI. And now as we hit the arm button, the drone should arm, which is working, and also our mode step. We arm the motor, change the modes, so it should work just fine. And also on the flight controller, when changing modes, you can see that this LED is blinking faster, so the same time as we change the switch, also we have little information from the flight controller that the flight mode was changed. Also you can check if the VTX is working properly and you have the video on your goggles. So maybe it's a little bit tricky to show you, but actually the image, we have image in our goggles. So now I'm waving directly at the front of the camera of the drone. So our VTX is also working properly.
It's too quiet.
So on this video I covered up only just the basics to get you flying. Of course we have a lot more options to do, to play with, like you can flash the different firmware to your AST, to your flight controller, just choosing the D-shot and pit tuning your quad, but these were just the basics to get you fly, and I hope I could learn you something new. So see you in the next video.